backing up your DNA or backing up your tree? This actually has come up because of two things that recently happened. One was one of my viewers talked about the fact that, hey, you might want to kind of send out a warning about people backing up their trees on sites like Ancestry, what they're getting, what they're not getting, which is a really good thing to be talking about. But the other thing was with the 23andMe big thing with the bankruptcy and everybody talking about remove everything from 23andMe. I wanted to tell you how you can download your DNA as well. So today we're going to talk about how to download your DNA and that information, as well as how to download your family tree and back up your family tree as well. Now I'm going to be using various sites like Ancestry, 23andMe, and others so that you can see how you can go about this regardless of what site you are using. Now, why is this important? On the 23andMe thing, whether or not you agree with because they're in bankruptcy, you ought to be removing your DNA or not, I don't even really want to get into that at this juncture. But some people have decided that they do want to remove their information from 23andMe because they're not sure who's going to pick up the company. Sometimes you want to download your DNA so that you can upload it to other sites and save yourself the cost of buying a DNA test from that site if they allow it. And then finally, if you have a family tree and you're hosting it on a site rather than on software that you keep on your computer, you really want to back it up every once in a while, because if something funky happens, you're out of luck. And you may put a lot of time and work into building your family tree. So all of this information, all of these things are part of our family history. We use our DNA results as we try to identify ancestors. We use our family trees for the same purpose. And I want you to know what you can do with that information and maybe what you ought to be doing with that information so that it stays secure and you can continue to have it. So I'm Aimee Cross. I want to help you take your genealogy to the next level. And this will be one of those things that I really think will help you with that, because there's nothing worse than losing information that we've worked hard for or paid for. Now, I am going to include a handout for this video where I'm going to go through all of this information step by step so that if you're having trouble following along with the video, you can use the handout. If you're a member of Aimee's Crew, the YouTube membership level on my channel, then I'll get the handout for free. If not, you can go pick it up on Etsy, and I'll have a link to that site at the end of this video if you would rather do that, as well as the information is always in the video description. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so I'm going to start on 23andMe. So I've logged into 23andMe. I do have a DNA test that I purchased with 23andMe. A lot of people have used 23andMe because they were interested in the health information that their DNA test gave them. And I went through, because I paid for the extra subscription initially, I went through and I already downloaded all of the different health information and trait reports. So if you haven't done that, you've paid for it. You really want that information. And if you remove your account from 23andMe, then it's going to be gone. So what I want you to do first is go here to Health and Traits, go to all your health and traits reports. And then you can see, and here we see that I have a higher, slightly increased risk of age-related macular degeneration. So if I go, and this takes time, FYI. So if I go to one of those results, you'll go to each report, go to print, and then you can print, and they're long. You can print them on paper. That's a lot of paper. I recommend you just go down here, and I'm on a Mac, so yours may be a little bit different. But either way, you want to save this as a PDF. And so then you want to just save this as a PDF and then go into your next test, and you can print each one of your health predisposition tests. You can also go up here to Report Summary, and then that's going to give you a summary of all of your reports, and then you can download that information as well. Same thing, go here to PDF, save as a PDF. So now I'm going to go to View My Profile, and you may have some other things within here that you may want to copy as well, like your ancestry composition or your maternal haplogroup, or if you're a male, paternal haplogroup. I would definitely take down that information, and you can continue to scroll down and see if you see anything else here that you think is important for you to download and have a copy of. Now I want you to go over here to your settings. As you scroll down, you're going to see your 23andMe data. So if I view this, then I have to go through my process of confirming my date of birth for added security. And now I'm in the 23andMe data page. So here is another place where I can print my report summary, where I can download my ancestry composition data, and that just automatically downloads it straight to your computer. And I can download my family tree data, and I can download my raw DNA data. Now this is going to be in a plain text file. And FYI, once you've downloaded your raw DNA data to your computer, if somebody gets a hold of your computer, they also have your DNA information. So you need to think about what you're going to do with that file once you've downloaded the raw DNA data. Because if you're worried about what 23andMe may do with it, you may have more concerns about what you got going on your own computer. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. This applies to 23andMe and Ancestry and really any of the other DNA sites. So if I'm going to download my raw DNA data, they're giving me a lot of information and warnings that they want me to consider. And if you are fine with all of that, then you submit your request, and then my download request is in process. And it normally takes a couple of days, as they state right here, and then they're going to send me an email when it's available. Now, if you're waiting for that DNA data to come to you, you need to wait before maybe you close your account. Now here you have other profile data that may be of interest to you, and you can select any of these things, and then you can download that information. Now I'd like to add that if you do delete your data, any pending data download requests that you've made will be canceled. So you don't want to completely delete everything until you've gotten everything that you want out of 23andMe. It does note right down here that what happens to my data if the company is sold or otherwise changes ownership. And it says that the data will remain protected under the current 23andMe privacy policy unless and until you are presented with materially new terms with advance notice and things like that. Then once you request to permanently delete the data, 23andMe will send an email to your email address asking you to confirm your request, and then they will process your request and delete your data, and then you'll no longer be able to sign into your account, and any pending data download requests that you've made will be canceled. So you can explain why you are, and then you can click to permanently delete your data. So Family Tree DNA is very similar. This is a different DNA company, and you may have uploaded your DNA to Family Tree DNA, either DNA that you have downloaded from another site and then uploaded it to Family Tree DNA, or perhaps you've ordered a DNA test from Family Tree DNA. Now, if you go to the Family Tree DNA privacy statement page, and I have the link to this in the handout as well, and you scroll down further where it talks a little bit more about what they're going to do with their DNA, they note here under 7, your options and ability to access your personal information. They note that you can download your genetic information, and you can click here in order to do that, and the information that's included in that download. But then if you scroll down a little bit further, it states that if you want to leave a group project, delete your personal information, or close your Family Tree account, you need to contact Family Tree DNA through their customer service. And I would note that if you want them to remove your genetic information, you need to be very specific that you ask in your request that they do so, and then they will take care of that. Now, MyHeritage is another company that contains DNA testing and DNA information, and in order to remove that at MyHeritage, you can delete your DNA data by just hovering over your DNA right here, and then you want to manage your DNA kits, and then here, then you can go over here to the little dots, and then you can delete your kit right here if you choose to do that. And finally, we're going to go over to Ancestry. Now, Ancestry is similar. Go over to DNA, go over to your results summary, and then you're going to go to your DNA settings right here. And then you're going to scroll down, and down at the bottom, you can download your DNA data. And if you choose to do that, you have to understand your risk. And then if you hit continue, then they're going to send you a code via email, or you're going to enter in your current password to verify your account, and you'll go through a similar process as you did on 23andMe to download your DNA data. But if you want to delete your DNA test, then you just go here to DNA. It's permanent. You click continue, and then your DNA information will be removed from Ancestry. So that's the DNA portion of this video. Because we're here though, I want to talk about backing up your trees and downloading your trees. Now, the reason this is important is because I've done a lot of work on my tree. I have thousands of people in my tree, and I don't want it to be gone. But I think a lot of people don't understand when you do back up a tree on Ancestry, or this applies to FamilySearch and MyHeritage, Storied, all of them, you'll get similar results. So let me talk about kind of the negatives and how you can work around it. So if I am in my Ancestry tree, I can go over here to the three dots, and I can go to tree settings, and I can go scroll down, and I can export my tree. And then it's going to take a little bit of time for them to generate the GEDCOM file. And then I can click on that, and it will just download that GEDCOM file to my downloads folder. But there's a couple of things that I need to warn you. The GEDCOM file can then be put up into any genealogy program, but there's things that it's not going to have in it. It's not going to have the images of the different census records and the other things that you saved onto your tree, photographs, stuff like that. None of that is going to be downloaded. It's just going to be the vital information and the records, and then the sources of the records. But again, no images. So you lose a lot of that. So how do you go around it? There are a couple of programs that sync with Ancestry. Let's talk about Ancestry first. The first is Family Tree Maker. Family Tree Maker is the best sync with Ancestry, and it will sync your photographs and the images of your census records and things like that. That's really helpful. And so you'll have that within the files of your Family Tree DNA or your Family Tree Maker program. We're still waiting for their 2024 update to come into play. And I have another video on that on my channel. You can go check that out. However, there is another program, Roots Magic, that allows you to sync kind of one by one. Now, Roots Magic notes that you can move that data back and forth, and even pictures between the two systems, but you've got to do it person by person. And so it takes a lot of time. Now, the FamilySearch tree, because it's a collaborative tree, it doesn't even really allow you to download your GEDCOM, GEDCOM is like a name, like a PDF or a JPEG. It's the name of a file that is written for genealogy programs. And FamilySearch, I don't think even lets you download the GEDCOM. However, they partner with just about every big genealogy company and allowing you to pull some of your information off of the FamilySearch tree into those programs. And so that can make a really big difference. That works with MyHeritage, it works with Storied and things like that. Now, FYI, Storied is the only company that will pull the stories and the images, the photographs that have been uploaded to an individual's FamilySearch account. So if that's something that you want to pull from FamilySearch, you may want to pull it into Storied and have your tree in Storied as well, which I believe there's no charge at all for you to have your tree in Storied. You just have to pay if you want to be able to look at records and things like that. So that's a way to back up the information that you have on FamilySearch. Now, MyHeritage is the same as Ancestry. So on MyHeritage, you go to your family tree and you go to Manage Trees, and then you can export to GEDCOM right here. Now again, I warn you, this is a GEDCOM, so the images are not going to come down on MyHeritage either. Now on Storied, I can delete a tree, but I can't even download a GEDCOM from Storied, at least not that I could find. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you recognize the importance of backing up the information and maybe transferring it across platforms to secure it a little bit. And then as you're talking about your DNA data, thinking about who do I want to have my DNA data and how do I want to store it on my computer if I download it? And what do I want to do with all of that? Because this is certainly the question of the day with all of the things happening with 23andMe. But a lot of these concerns really apply to any of the DNA companies. If there's changes and maybe they're bought out by a healthcare company or something like that, then maybe you don't want them to have your DNA information. So anyway, food for thought. Again, there is the handout for this video. You can either be part of Aimee's crew to get the handout of the month, and so this is the handout for this month, or you can order it on Etsy by clicking the link, or you can click on this QR code with your phone and it'll take you straight to my Etsy page where you can order that. So right over here, I have a playlist of other videos regarding DNA, since that's a hot topic right now. Thanks a lot.